Skal snakke om deg, sa Lise. I said I'm going to talk about you, said Elisa. Okay. So it was very fitting that we ended with that song, the Lord of all the earth. And when the nations rage, when the all of the chaos, everything, He is in control. Our God is in control. And afterwards we're going to read a psalm that has to do with that. From Isaiah, chapter 40. Yesterday in the evening, we started to read a book that is a Pilgrim's Progress, but for children. So it's the book from John Bunyan, that lived in the 16th century. And he wrote this book, A Pilgrim's Progress. I think you're all familiar with it. It has been a very popular book. It's the second most printed and I think sold also book in after the Bible in all of history. And of course, it's a very powerful book, an allegory of the Christian walk, the Christian life, that is written by a man that was in prison for his faith. And yesterday we came to the part where pilgrim or Christian is met faithful, his good friend. So finally he has a friend in the faith, someone to walk together with, and they strengthen each other, they encourage each other, they have a special friendship and relationship in the Lord to be able to walk together towards their goal. And the goal in the Pilgrim's Progress, their whole life's goal is to reach the celestial city, the city of heaven, the new Jerusalem. So they have this like something that is shining in the distance, and then they're walking this path with God through trials and difficulties, through many storms and bad situations, and then they're always continuing towards the goal, that is the salvation of their souls and to come into the glory of the King, to meet with the Lord and the King. And in this part of Pilgrim's Progress, they're just we started when they're just standing outside of the city that is called the city of vanity. So it's, if you've seen the movies or read the books, is where faithful and Christian, they enter in, and then there's a lot of merchants. People are trying to sell them things. A lot of focus on pleasure. People that want to look good and feel good and buy and sell, and they're being tempted the whole time. And before they go into the city, they have a meeting with the person that is called evangelist, and he was the one that sent Pilgrim off on his journey, told him about the gospel and that he could be freed from his burden of sin if he would go on the path of Jesus, to the path of the King. So just before they come into this temptation, this difficulty in this city of vanity, they are warned by evangelists in the entrance. It's very nice, the children's books. It has not all the book, but it has some parts in pictures. And then he warns them and he says, don't fear the ones that can kill your body, but you have no power over your soul. Fear the one that can kill both your body and your soul in hell. So he has this warning to them as they enter in, and then the temptation starts. And then we see that Christian's friend, faithful, is very firm in his faith. So they come and sell him things, and he says, we don't want your empty promises and your lies. You're selling lies, but we want to buy the truth of God. So he's very firm when they're trying to sell things, and then of course this whole city of people that are the people of vanity, they get very angry. Oh, they're rejecting what we have to offer. So they put them in a trial. They have a judge and everything, like I am the judge. and they're seated there, and then the people come with accusations. And they say, these people that said that our whole city was just emptiness and lies and nothing. And they didn't want to buy anything from us. And then the judge, he gets really angry, and he judges them to death. So both of them to death. And then the story goes that Pilgrim and Faithful, they're both going to be executed by this mad situation, these mad people in that city. And they take Faithful first, and they bring him out to execute him. And in the children's book, it doesn't really go into details a lot. it's just a very soft version, but they take him away, and then Pilgrim is smuggled out. Hopeful, a little boy that have heard their testimony, that have heard what they have said. He has been met by God in some ways, and he comes and he frees Christians. He can escape while they kill Faithful. And then we see Faithful in a chariot, like Elijah in the children's book, and he's on his way to heaven. So they don't really say much that they don't understand, but now he's going to heaven. And so I thought, and so Elisa, she's 6 years old, I thought I will explain a little bit to her what happened there. So I said, sometimes in this world, and this has happened now many, many times, when people are firm in the truth, when people want to speak what says in the Bible and what God says, then many people will get angry. And what happened there was that they became so angry that they wanted to take their lives. But when a Christian dies, he come home. So they cannot take our lives. They can only send us home to God. So then Faithful, he reached the celestial city before Pilgrim, Christian, and anyone else. So we had a little conversation, and she was a little bit shocked by that. I said that this has happened in real life a lot of times, and that's true. Right now, in many countries, there has never been as many martyrs as there is today. These last couple of years have been incredibly many have died because of their faith, mostly by different extremist Muslim groups in different countries. And then I forgot about that a little bit, and I came home for dinner today. And when we were eating dinner, I think I said something. I asked, I don't know if you've probably all seen that what happened with this young American man that was called Charlie Kirk, that he was shot when he was on a school campus debating, talking about many biblical principles. He was very focused towards politics, but he was speaking politics through the lens of a biblical worldview. And because of that, he was very brave or very courageous in the way that he shared these things. So some people got very mad, and others were really encouraged to stand more firm. And so he was speaking, and then he was shot in the neck, and he died, and you know that story. So in the dinner, it just occurred to me to ask. I asked Emilia, how the school, were they talking about this at all here in Sweden? Did any of your teachers or someone mention this? And she said the name of a girl, and she said she talked about it today. And I asked, okay, who's that? Well, that was one of her fellow students. And I don't know what Emilia is, she 14 or 13? 12. She's 12. Okay. So they're 12-year-olds, and this was a 12-year-old classmate. And the classmate said something about him, she said. And I asked her, okay, what did she say? And she said, well, she was kind of glad. She said she was glad that he died because he was against abortion and things. There is a 12-year-old Swedish girl in Dalsed, and she said she was happy that this young man, father of 3 children or 2 children, I don't know, was killed because he was against abortion. So can you imagine how far things have come in the minds of the young people in this society? It has come to a point where where a 12-year-old can say that. And where did she get that from? I was thinking, where did she get that from? And she must have gotten it from someone that was older, right? Someone that was seeing these things and telling her this truth. And the same thing, if you have watched a little bit, the news have been going on in the States and in many places where people have been celebrating or saying positive things about this, what happened. They were glad that he died. And that was very shocking to me. When we were talking about that, Lisa was also there, and she was asking, who was this? Who is this? And she didn't understand but then I said, you remember what we read about yesterday in the evening? You remember I told you that many people, when they speak the truth, when they speak what is in God's word, they become very unpopular, and then someone gets angry and they want to even to kill them. And that was what happened. So he was a man that was speaking many truths, things that people got really angry, and then they shot him. And to me, this whole scene, this whole thinking about 12-year-olds saying that it was better that he was killed. I mean, to me, that was a little bit a very strong shock. It seemed a little bit hopeless for a moment, as I have my daughter in the school there, and not the same school, but she soon will be there also. And I started to think about how far things have gone when you can justify that. And I also had a short explanation, because you said abortion, what is that? We never talked about abortion because our children are small. So it never occurred to us to talk about that with them. But I told her, well, abortion is when a mother decides that she doesn't want to keep her baby that's in her stomach. She has a baby, and then she decides that she wants to kill it because she doesn't want it. She wants to do something else, and she doesn't want to feed it and help it to grow. And then Alice answered, but we were in the stomach before. And I said, yes, that's true. Imagine if Emilia's mother, or if your mother would have thought like that. And she was very, to her, that was very a shocking reality. She's a small child, so I didn't say much more, but it was such a shocking reality and so easily explained that it really hit me as well. Like, you can be killed, and people in Sweden will say it is good that you were killed for saying that a mother should not be able to kill her child in Sweden. And that is a shocking amount of darkness, of people being blind, not seeing at all. It is a very painful situation that we're in. That's why I said I wanted to read from Isaiah in chapter 40. It's also what the song that we just sang is about. Because we have a couple of different options, right? One is to become very discouraged and be afraid. We could be afraid to say truths to our children, because they might say the truth to someone, and then they can be problems with the teachers or with someone else, or with other students. We can be afraid to speak the truth, because we know that the people that are going to listen are so far out from that reality, that light that we have as Christians reading the Bible. We've got a light to see value of a human life, for example. Well, that is one option. The other option is what the evangelist said to pilgrim before they entered into the city was, do not fear the people that can kill your body, that can destroy something from you here, but fear God. He has the power over your soul, right? And if you read, I can read from verse 5, you can read, just to not read the whole. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. A voice says, cry. And I said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all its beauty is like the flower of the field. The grass withers, and the flower fades, and the breath of the Lord blows on it. Surely the people are like grass. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God will stand forever. Get up to a high mountain, O Zion, herald of good news. Lift up your voice with strength, O Jerusalem, herald of good news. Lift it up, fear not. Say to the cities of Judah, behold your God. Behold, the Lord comes with might, and his arm rules for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his recompense before him. He will tend his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs in his arm. He will carry them in his bosom, and gently lead those that are with young. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and marked out the heavens with a span, and closed the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed all the mountains in scales, and the hills in balance? Who has measured the Spirit of the Lord, or what man knows him, and knows his counsel? Whom did he consult, and who made him understand? Who taught him the path of justice, and taught him knowledge, and showed him the way of understanding? And this verse I really want to focus on. It says, behold, the nations are like a drop from a bucket, and are accounted as the dust on scales. Behold, he takes up the coastlands like fine dust. Lebanon would not suffice for fuel, nor are its beasts enough for burnt offerings. All the nations are as nothing before him. They are accounted by him as less than nothing and emptiness. Whom then will you liken to God? Or what likeness compares with him? An idol, a craftsman casts it, and a goldsmith overlays it with gold, and casts it for silver chains. Okay. The other day, we talked in the evening also in our family meeting, we talked about how God is so much greater, so much more powerful and great than anything that we can imagine or think. Because our children, they're always asking, could God do this, for example? And we said, God could do anything. He is all powerful. And Isaac is in this age where he's like, is God bigger than this? So he is in his mind, he's trying to understand, where is he? To him, God is a superhuman or something. But But our children are always thinking about these things, and I think we should be thinking about that too. The all-powerful God, it says, I did this in the meeting, I said, the Bible says that there is a scale, right? This is an old-fashioned scale. And it says that if all the people of all the nations, everyone, every human being on earth, if they were on one side of the scale, so that the scale went down, if God went on the other side, they would be like dust. They would be like nothing. So all of the nations, all of the glory, all of the wisdom, all of the understanding, everything that human beings can think, their anger, their ideas, their understanding. If you put God on the scale, they are like nothing. They amount to nothing. They are like fine dust, it says on the scales. And this is a special perspective, right? Because it's a little bit like talking about human beings, the nations, all of these beautiful people, they are like dust. They're like nothing. And we're not used to thinking like that. We're used to thinking as Christian of the value of every human being, of every human soul. And it is true that every human being that we meet, when we have these people working in practice with us. Sometimes you see some of these teams that come and they help us during the days. I mean, any person that comes into our store, into our doors, their value of their soul is huge, is immense. The value of a human life. But that is because God gives value to the human life. That is what makes them so valuable. And if you try to do a scale where you put God on a scale, the creator of everything, his greatness, his immenseness, then all of humanity is like fine dust. But that is also what makes it so special with the gospel that we have taken part in. When Jesus becomes a human being, when he comes to spend time among us, these people is fine dust, his heart full of love towards us. When he's on the cross and he's finishing the work of salvation for us, it is something that is we can never reach with our human minds. The value of what Jesus has done for us, the value of him paying for our lives with his blood. And that is what gives us value. What gives us value is the love of God. And when we separate ourselves from the love of God, and the truth is the same again, that we are like dust. The nations rage, the wars, the things that happen. God is in control. He is all powerful. He is on the throne. So this is an encouragement. Yes, the world is in a mess. The young people are really in darkness. But also we know that God, the one that is in us, is much more powerful than the one that is in the world. And the light shines brightest in darkness. So one last verse, and then I'll finish with that. Matthew 28. Verse 16. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. So this is after Jesus' sacrifice and resurrection. He is standing in front of the 11 disciples, ones that have been walking with him for 3 years. They have seen so many things. They thought that he was gone, and now they've seen him. He's risen from the dead. He's standing among them. And still it says that they worshipped him, but some of them doubted. And that was their condition as they stood before Jesus there. They could worship, but there was doubt. They were doubting. And to these disciples, to these 11, he says these words, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Everything, all authority is his. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always, to the end of the age. Now, these words were given to the 11 disciples. They were a lot like us. But the ground on why they could be sent out was that Jesus has all authority in heaven and on earth, and that he would be with them. This is a command. We call it the Great Commission, the Great Command. And I think that we have to examine our lives and see, is our life going to be marked by his command? The one that has all authority in heaven and on earth is calling us and saying, go. Is your future going to be led by him saying, go? Or is there other things that are more important that you want to focus on for your future? We are in the Great Commission Bible School here. The question is, are you going to live for the Great Commission? Or are you going to live for the vanities of the nations of this world? So, Father, please help the youth of Dalsed, these people that we meet on the street and we say hello to them, the people that come to us for practical work, the little children in the schools, their teachers. Please, Father, help us to live not in fear, not in insecurity, but in boldness and in power, in faith, not fearing those who can destroy our bodies, but fearing you, loving you. And we want to follow in the Great Commission. We want to be your hands and your feet. It's an incredible privilege that you want to work through us. Help us to never lose our focus on that you are the one that is with us. You are above all. You have everything in control. You are in control. Help us not to fear, to stand in you, stand on the truth. We want to follow you, Lord. I pray, God, that no one will go from here without a firm decision that we will do your will, live in your truth, your authority. Help us not to doubt. We want to worship you with our whole lives, our whole hearts. Help us in our doubt, Lord. Amen.